Let's take a look at the problem statement. An asset costs $15,000 and at the end of 3 years has a salvage value of $2,000. According to the sum of the year's digits, the book value at the end of 2 years will be... From the statement we know the following. The asset was purchased for $15,000. The salvage value, which of course is the value of the asset at the end of its useful life, will be $2,000. The useful life expectancy of the asset will be 3 years, and we would like to know the book value after 2 years. Units for this problem would be dollars and years. In order to calculate the book value, we must first calculate the depreciation. For this problem statement, it asks us to calculate the depreciation by methods of sum of the year's digits. This method will give us a greater depreciation in the early years of the useful life of the asset and less in the later years. The sum of the year's digits depreciation is equal to a depreciable base multiplied times the depreciable factor. The depreciable base, represented as dB, will be equal to the purchase value of the asset, P, minus the salvage value, S. In this case, it is going to be equal to $15,000 minus $2,000. And therefore, the depreciable base for this problem statement will be equal to $13,000. The depreciable factor is equal to the remaining useful lifetime of the asset divided by the sum of the year's digits, where the sum of the year's digits is equal to simply the summation of all the years. For example, our useful life will be 3 years, so the sum of the year's digits for this problem statement will be 3 plus 2 plus 1, and this will be equal to 6. There's also a formula to calculate the sum of the year's digits in case your useful life expectancy is very great. You can take, it will be equal to useful life multiplied again by the useful life plus 1, and you'll divide that by 2. If you simply plug 3 in for here and 3 for here, you will again get 6. The remaining useful life is pretty self-explanatory. It's however much life is left on the asset. For example, we're looking for 2 years, and this has a 3-year life expectancy, so therefore it will be 2 years remaining. So in other words, this can be written for this problem statement as T over 6. So now that we have our two factors, we can set up a table in which we can calculate the depreciation for each year. So simply we'll have years, and we'll have year 1, year 2, year 3. We will have our depreciable base, which will be $13,000, and that will be the same for each year. Our depreciable factor, which again is the remaining useful life over the sum of the year's digits, which is equal to 6. And for example, in year 1, there's 3 remaining years of useful life, so therefore the depreciable factor will be 3 over 6. Year 2, 2 remaining years, 2 over 6. And year 3, 1 remaining year, 1 over 6. Now we can calculate the depreciation, in which simply you calculate the depreciable base, you multiply the depreciable base times the depreciable factor as shown up here, which will simply, to show for this one, it will be $13,000 times 3 over 6. And therefore that will give you a depreciable value, I'm going to use blue instead. This will give you a depreciable value of $6,500. After year 2, it will be $4,333.33. and year 3 will be $2,167.67. Those are our depreciating values of the asset using the sum of the year's digits. Now that we have these values, we can calculate the book value. The book value is simply what the asset is worth after each year. And so simply what we'll do is we will take the book value, BV, we represent as BV, and that is going to be equal to value of the asset after each year. And for this one, we're looking at for the asset after 2 years. Alright, so we originally purchased the asset for $15,000. So if we were looking at it as periods, this would be period 0. We have $15,000. That's our book value. That's what the value of the asset when we bought it, $15,000. And from there it's going to depreciate. So through the first year it will depreciate $6,500. And we get this from how we calculated up here. Now it asks us to calculate the book value, what the book value will be at the end of 2 years. So we need one more year of depreciation, one more period of depreciation. And that will depreciate $4,333.33 as shown up here. So we'll subtract $4,333.33. Therefore, we will get a book value and an asset value worth $4,167.67 after 2 years. Now we know this is correct because we can look at the salvage value, which is what the value is worth at the very end of its useful life, $2,000, and if we simply depreciate it one more year using $2,167.67 as our depreciation value, we will simply get $2,000. So therefore, the book value of the asset after 2 years, given the following parameters, will be $4,167.67.